What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It is time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I'm your host, TJ Zwarych. We got a special little bonus show for you today. No specific episode of a television show or no movie that we're covering in depth reviewing today, but we're breaking down some trailers. And I must admit, this is probably, I apologize in advance. This is probably the least prepared I have ever been for a podcast in the 4 or 5 years that we've been doing this. So I apologize in advance. Picked up a little extra stuff at my other job, doing a lot of work, learning a bunch of new things. Photoshop and Premiere Pro are trying to murder me, but they will not succeed, and I will overcome. And to help me ease my mind, calm down a little bit, because we're not going to have a intense of an argument today as we did in our Andor season finale podcast about Clea and Luthen. Go check that out if you have not done so yet. Damon Gray, my good friend and co-host. How you doing today, Damon? Beautiful little jersey you got on. You're looking good.
Yeah, man. Don't you dare disrespect my goat, Clea. Ever. Can do no wrong. Ever. Every decision she makes. 100% great. I'm doing well. As you mentioned, repping the jersey. WNBA season starts today, everyone. And this is probably the last year we're going to have a professional top-tier sports team in this state, apparently. So I'm just embracing every minute that I have. Don't leave Connecticut, son. Please. It's literally, we don't have anything here. We have pizza and you.
You got UConn, dude.
I don't like UConn. I actually actively hate UConn. That's what happens when you don't go to UConn.
This guy.
I am on the opposite side of this as you are, Damon. I'm excited not for this season of the WNBA, but for next season of the WNBA, because in 2026, the Toronto Tempo are making their debut in the league, and we finally have a team here in Canada. But joining us as well, you're not here to, I mean, maybe you're here to listen to us talk about the WNBA. We can dive in if you want to. But you're most likely here to listen to us break down the Superman trailer, the Ironheart trailer, and of course the Peacemaker season 2 trailer. And doing that with us today, we got Metalcore Nerds, Sean Mott. How you doing, Sean?
Doing great. It's Friday. It's been a busy week for me as well, TJ. If it makes you feel, it probably doesn't make you feel any better because I've been working with Photoshop for half my life at this point. Premiere Pro, though, only a few years. So I did offer some help if he needs it.
If needed, I did. You want to hear what's sad? Sorry to cut you off, but you want to hear what's sad? Is I've been working on the prep for this video I have to do today for the it's my first time using Premiere Pro for the video editing. I haven't even gotten to that point yet because I'm still making all the different graphics on Photoshop to put into the video when I get there. And I thought I had this down. I thought I was clicking on all cylinders, ready to go. And then I had to work on this new template that has a bunch of text. And the text is trying to kill me.
Welcome to the life of
you need to make a new meme from the White Lotus instead of the gays are trying to kill me. The text is trying to kill me. And superimpose TJ's face over it. I think that'd be good. I think that'd be pretty good.
Well, you can do it. I'm not gonna do it because I'm not gonna be able to do any more once I'm done.
Dude, the pains of being the graphic designer friend is that people go, hey, can you make this silly thing? And I'm like, no, I don't have time for that. What do you think I do all day? I have stuff that actually makes me money. I'm not going to spend money on this little gag so you can laugh at it for 5 minutes. No, sorry. Usually I just ignore it because it'll usually come in a group chat. They're like, Sean, do this thing. And I'm not even acknowledging because no, I'm not going to do that. If you want something real as a favor, maybe I'll do that for you. But I'm not going to Photoshop your head onto something that's really dumb when there's apps that'll do it for you now. I don't got time for that. Get out of here.
Sean, tell me what app to use, and then I'll do it myself. Or put my head on this little zebra so I can make my funny meme. I don't know. I'm just.
I don't even know the app, but you can just Google it, like face replacer or something.
Why my Google?
Find it. Yeah, that's what I've learned this week is that people don't understand what Google is, I think, or just refuse to use it. And I'm sure we'll get it into that when we talk about the Superman trailer, because someone thought that James Gunn made up Cronkite, and that made me lose all hope in humanity, I think. More than I already have. I was like, Jesus. Like
somebody thought Walter Cronkite was a made-up person?
I think he just said the word Cronkite was just a made-up thing that James Gunn, it was insane.
One of the responses I saw was like, I don't know who that is either, but they should have spelt it with a K so it could be like a Krypton reference.
Davis fixes everything.
Brandon bringing up in chat that people are using Google, but only for the AI feature. And that's the most annoying part, is that there's no longer like top answer. It's always the AI blurb up top. And the AI blurb is always freaking wrong. I'm trying to do some posts on socials the other day, and I just wanted a movie title. So I typed in like the beginnings of the title on Google, and the AI blurb gave me the wrong title. And it's just like, you can't get anything right on there. It's so damn annoying. It's killing our planet and giving terrible information all at the same time. But
God,
let's start diving into the podcast. Let's start having some fun. We could complain about the state of the world all day long. Instead, I want to know what you're watching. Sean, I'll throw it to you first for this one, since Damon and I just talked about it a couple days ago here. Yesterday, 2 days ago. What is time? It's all blending together right now. Sean, what you been watching?
So, in the last 24 hours, I have completely rewatched the entire Final Destination franchise. And that's been my life.
Oh,
yeah.
I heard the new one.
It's been, yeah, that's why. And I remembered loving the first three, because I don't think I watched 4 and 5 when I was younger. As I'm rewatching them, I was like, I couldn't remember the opening crazy death scenes. So that means I didn't see it. You know, like if you don't remember that, you didn't see a Final Destination movie. And the first two are awesome, but like not awesome as movies, just like awesome experiences, because they're so ridiculous and they feel so 2000s, like so utterly 2000s. And the first two are very connected, as in like they reference what happens. And the first one is how they kind of explain and try to figure out death's design. The third one kind of lives in its own world, even though it doesn't. And that one feels very disconnected. But it does have Mary Elizabeth Winstead, which is wild to think about, that she's like the main person in it and the one that witnesses the vision. This franchise is like the franchise of, oh, that guy, but you don't know their name. Like that is Final Destination. Besides 5, which 5 has oh my god, I can't remember his name, but he's always the bald guy in like every comedy, like Anchorman, that guy. I can't remember his name.
TJ, you muted.
You're muted, buddy.
Champ Kind is the character name. I don't remember what the actor's name is.
Yes, that guy. And also Becca Butcher is in 4, which was wild. Because I was like, she looks really familiar. Who is that? And I looked it up and I was like, holy shit, it's Becca Butcher. That's crazy. 4 is just a cartoon, because that's when it was made in like 2009. So there's a lot of really bad CGI, like bad, like PS2 level CGI, and moments that don't need CGI, but that was just the time where they're like, yeah, CGI is the best. Awful, that movie, but it has some of the most insane like death scenes. It's just like absurd, like so insane. And then 5 might be my favorite, and I don't think I've ever watched it. And I don't know who's going to be watching the Final Destination franchise, but the ending scene is such a massive twist that I did not see coming.
5 is up there with one of the greatest, if you're into it, like one of the greatest plot twists in movie
Dude.
history. And I only say that just because, like, if you're into it, you don't recognize what's going on majority of the movie. You pick up on maybe one or two things, and then like that final scene, you will go, "Holy shit!"
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly. And I just watched that like an hour ago. So I was like, the last scene happens. I go, wait. No way. It blew my mind.
And you just did a marathon of it, so it's fresh.
Yeah. And I love the
That
opening
helps.
credits always have like,
Yeah.
at least in the last 2 or 3, the opening credits are always this like weird homage to all the crazy deaths and that have happened in the franchise. And yeah, that was a good experience. I think I wasn't sure. Like, I just love doing rewatches of stuff before I watch the new thing, especially if it's been like years since I watched it. You know, just to make sure, like when I watch this thing, I'm sure there's going to be tons of references in the new one, especially with it being like a requel of sorts, as the new Screams have coined the term. So I'm really excited and ready to watch the new one. So excited.
Good things.
Yeah, that's
It
that's
got
been the
like
majority.
really good ratings from critics, which is like
Really good.
insane to think about for a Final Destination movie.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm stoked. I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Damon, how about you? What you been watching?
Not much. I was telling Sean before you got on, I was like, I've just been kind of like listening to new Sleep Token album on repeat, like a madman, because it's great. And even if you don't like metal, maybe you'll like it because Sleep Token are just beyond genre at that point, and they're really cool. And you should check them out. And they're like super blowing up to the point where I've not seen a band like this blow up in the way that they have in such a short amount of time. It's crazy for where they were
Billboard
like just
number
a few
one.
years ago. Billboard number 1, selling out arenas from where they were just like a few years ago is mad.
Yeah.
So go check them out if you haven't heard of them.
I've been listening to a ton of the Braving the Elements podcast, the Avatar: The Last Airbender Nickelodeon podcast, trying to catch up, make my way through the original show, because they are now starting to do Korra on the podcast. I believe like next week is going to be the first Korra episode. And so I'm really hoping I can push through, catch up as quick as I can, and start making it to the live shows when they're happening, because I believe they're going to start doing like video format shows as well, like not live, but they're going to put it on YouTube.
They have been, yeah.
And so I'm excited to start watching that, and as they come out each week, and also to meet up again with Dante Bosco in a couple months, because that's probably going to be while they're still doing the podcast, making their way through Korra, and he promised me an interview. And so maybe I can weasel my way onto the podcast, because I love those two so much. That's such a fun list.
They have had fan episodes. I'll give you that.
They've had fan episodes, but this is one of my favorite podcasts to listen to in a long time. One, because of the insight it provides for Avatar: The Last Airbender, but two, because Janet Varney and Dante Bosco, Korra and Zuko, are so enjoyable to listen to together. They have such great chemistry. They bring in so many great guests. Jack DeSena, Sokka, has just become one of my favorite people to listen to. He's absolutely hilarious in real life. So I can't wait to catch up a little bit more on that. And finally, X-Men Evolution is on Disney Plus Canada.
Yay!
I can finally watch X-Men Evolution on Disney Plus Canada. So I've been just kind of as like my background show while I work or while I'm parenting. I've been throwing on some X-Men Evolution, and I do love that show quite a bit. Aisha said she screamed when she saw it. Shout out to X-Men Evolution, such an underrated show. We got Goth Rogue, we got Goth Wanda Maximoff.
Everyone's just goth.
It's a great time. It's an absolute great time.
How have I never watched this? I know of it, but I've never watched it.
I like it a lot. It's a different take on the X-Men. You have like Storm and Wolverine are a little bit older and are teachers at the school with Professor Xavier, and then they're building this young team of high schoolers with Cyclops and Jean and Rogue and Nightcrawler and Shadowcat and Spike. who I don't know if Spike was maybe originally created for X-Men Evolution or if he existed before that, but big fan of that character as well. Then you got the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants led by Mystique and Magneto on the other side. It's a fun little show. And another fun little show that's going to be coming out in about a month here is Ironheart on Disney Plus. Before we actually even start talking about the first trailer breakdown, which is Ironheart, I again apologize. I am coming into this one real underprepared. I didn't hit these guys with a rundown. I've just been going since I woke up this morning. And so I want to talk a little bit about all the upfronts from this weekend. We had Disney, we had Amazon, we had all these different studios talking about the different content that they're going to be dropping. And so if the two of you have any of those that like stand out, feel free to take the lead and push the conversation that way. But the biggest one that, Damon, you brought up before the show, because I would have forgotten about, is we already know Daredevil Born Again Season 2. It's filming. They're going to be trying to release a new season every year. And we got Jessica Jones herself, Kristen Ritter, joining the official Disney MCU. She was already there since they made the Netflix stuff canon. But Jessica Jones is now joining Season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. We wanted her to replace Cherry, and now maybe we get it, Damon. Now maybe we get it.
Maybe she's replacing Cherry. Sorry, Cherry. You're cool, but Jessica Jones is just a bit cooler. When I saw this, I literally was like jumping up with glee. Jessica Jones is a very special character for me personally because I never got into the Netflix stuff until that show came out. And that was the first of the Netflix shows I watched. And I will say on a tall hill, holding onto a flagpole, clinging on for dear life, that first season is the best season of television anything Marvel has ever done. I love Hawkeye to death. I'll say that with bias, but from just everything else, that first season of Jessica Jones is incredible. Downright perfection. I love that character. I love that first season. Season 2 is pretty good. Season 3, I don't talk about. That never happens. Not good.
Why did they think we wanted a full season about Trish?
I don't. Patsy Walker. Just
Patsy
stay Patsy, man.
Like downhill
just
for
stay
a
Patsy.
Season.
Just stay Patsy. Like, it's fine. A
She's
long-time
on the raft,
Marvel
dude.
character in the romance comics. Not everyone needs to be a superhero. But Jessica Jones, I love that character. Kristen Ritter. I was so excited when I got this, like, literally I saw this. I texted you. I said Jessica Ritter. I was like that excited about it. I was just like not thinking. Kristen Ritter is the perfect Jessica Jones. The original Jessica Jones Max run from comics, go read those. It's great. I'm so excited. I'm so happy she's back because it just opens the door for more of those Netflix characters to come on in, like Luke Cage, probably Iron Fist. I hope Colleen will be there too, but I have a feeling Danny's probably going to show up because they did also tease in it that there would be more cameos and stuff of that matter this season. I don't necessarily think that will necessarily have to be Netflix related characters. We saw that this season. We did have, Ms. Marvel's dad show up for an episode. It could be more MCU related characters like that. Kate Bishop still, again, stay as far away from New York City as humanly possible until it's safe. Please, thank you. And I'm just excited, dude. I love Jessica Jones. They also teased, Kristen Ritter on the stage also teased that there's probably more of Jessica coming their way. So stay tuned. I'm excited. Does that mean we get Jessica Jones, The Purple Child short anime or not anime, but short series? That would be great. That has like an Emma Frost connection to. I doubt they go that route, but that's a Kelly Thompson, Jessica Jones story, which is great. I love it. There's a lot they can do with Jessica Jones, and with Jessica comes Luke Cage, and with Luke Cage comes a very important character to end the devil's reign that we've just set up in New York City. So it's cool to see that we have a pathway to acknowledge the prominent comic art that this show is being based on. Hopefully they lean a little bit more into it and not just like are influenced by it slightly, because the story is that good. So I'm excited, man. I'm so excited.
I hope we get to see in the MCU Luke Cage running against Wilson Fisk for mayor of New York. That would be a lot of fun.
That's
Sean,
that's how it works.
Sean, what were your thoughts on this news? And was there anything else from the variety of upfronts you want to bring attention to?
Nah, this was the big one for me. I was super excited. I mean, we all kind of hoped, you know, when so I didn't take that last scene as like a death blow as some people seem to, where it's just a bunch of cops and they're like, oh, that's the army. I didn't see it that way. I just saw it more as, well, I tried to think like logistically, and the fact that the show, you know, went through some trouble and had to kind of Frankenstein this season of TV together. And I'm guessing by the time they were trying to get that all together, you know, the stars didn't align to like maybe sprinkle in some of those characters at that last scene. And like, we'll just save that for season 2, which is fine. And I'm guessing
That's how I read it.
The people who were upset about this scene, that's probably why this announcement happened, to kind of, you know, pass away those negative thoughts and to build more excitement and anticipation, which apparently this season was amazing for Disney Plus. Like, they were supposed to like lose 1 million subscribers and then gained 1 million subscribers, and not all of that is from Daredevil. Like, Moana 2 went up on Disney Plus in the same time period and stuff like that, but Daredevil was probably
huge.
Yeah, Mufasa as well. So,
Yeah.
but Daredevil was obviously a big chunk of that, and so much so that the old series has been getting a ton of plays as well. So it's doing exactly probably what they wanted to do for the streaming service, and that's great. That's awesome. I thought it was a really good season of TV, and I think season 2 is going to be even better, knowing that we have a full creative slate of the people who, you know, made that miracle happen. And I am so stoked to see more Jessica Jones. Kristen Ritter, Jessica Jones is phenomenal, and I do hope it means we get, because I know Brad Winderbaum said something. I was like, I hope we get a Daredevil season every year, but I can almost see that as being like, maybe we get a Netflix season every year or something like that, and maybe more of them can kind of cross over and things of that nature. We'll see, because they did make it a very big point to be like, hey, we're only doing 2 live action shows a year now. We're going to keep it pretty dialed back comparatively to what has happened in the past, which that also I respect. Like, I'm glad they're going into we're in a quality over quantity era of the MCU, and it seems to be paying off dividends already. Even we've only seen like a glimpse of that. But I'm super, and I think this season is going to have Luke Cage. It's going to have Iron Fist, probably Colleen Wing. I'm hopeful for Misty Knight as well. I would love a Daughters of the Dragon series. I would love that so much. We were close. They were getting there in Netflix. So I'm hoping we can just continue on like Daredevil Born Again did. And there was also, when Matt Murdock said we need an army, the Spider-Man theme was playing. And our friends, the Newton brothers, confirmed it was the Spider-Man theme. Does that mean the MCU made some crazy deal to get Spider-Man on a TV show? Because that would be insane. If Tom Holland, Spider-Man, shows up to fight Wilson Fisk in Daredevil season 2, that will be the most insane thing. Like, that's what we want. That's what all of us want. But like, all of us nerds think it's impossible. But that would be insane. I would lose my mind. Like, obviously, I'm stoked for all this Netflix stuff to be canon and for it to fully get integrated and everything like that. But if they make that happen, that is insane and massive. Like, I would love to see these Netflix characters interact with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I mean, we got a little tease with Matt Murdock and Peter Parker. I want to see them suited up together. Let's go. That's what I want. We'll see.
My last thing I'll say on this whole thing, TJ, specifically, which is like the way that Disney Plus and the MCU have taken itself forward. And there's been like all the reports and rumors and a big article that came out on what the kind of like the plan is for that in particular. And I am curious how the show, like how Disney Plus is going to be in terms of the content it's doing and the storytelling. Like, are we just going to essentially be focusing on New York, which is possible, and I think a lot of us would be cool with that, or we're going to be going into a new era after Secret Wars where there will be mutants. Maybe will we even get like a mutant introduction type of show type of thing, or like are we just strictly focused essentially on this is going to be like New York grounded, easy to produce, not heavy on VFX type of shows, which I think is a win-win either way. But there's a lot they can do. I'm so excited to see kind of like this new direction. I think after Vision Quest is done, once we're kind of done with that to hopefully complete that Wanda-esque trilogy, where they're going, like how they're going to be focusing on the TV show side and then what they're going to focus on the movie side. Because it feels like at the very least, the two may not cross over as much as like we anticipated and was maybe originally planned from years ago, where we had like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which then like led directly into like the Cat 4 movie, or WandaVision going directly into Doctor Strange and Multi Madness, and Miss Marvel going into Marvels. It feels like maybe those two things, they'll acknowledge each other. It's all in the same thing. But if we keep kind of like those stories, the shows have their stuff and the movies have their stuff, it'll feel less like what has been described as the quote unquote homework, where in order to watch this movie, I need to watch 3 shows and this and that. And maybe you get rewarded if you do, but obviously it's not needed. So I am curious.
Those specific, if you do those 2 different veins that, you know, acknowledge each other but don't intersect overly often. The TV will intersect lots with the TV, the movies intersect lots with the movies, reference each other, maybe, especially TV referencing movies, but outside of that, not much, until you can have a big crossover event that intersects both of them in a theater, and you market it as this is the one for the Disney Plus lovers. This is going to connect this stuff. If you haven't watched Disney Plus, well, okay, but like this is the crossover event.
Yeah, you have your big movie, your Endgame, your Secret Wars type of thing, but like going directly in between things until you hit the climax of it all, the finale of it all, they're pretty much their own thing. And I think that's going to be the direction going forward. I'm looking forward to it all.
And assuming you can get the actor to do so, I think it's a lot easier to bring the movie people into the TV people, into the TV shows, instead of bringing the TV people into the movies, because there's a lot more casual moviegoers who aren't watching Disney Plus, whereas anyone watching a Marvel show on Disney Plus has probably seen the movies.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Marvel shows on Disney Plus, let's start diving into that Ironheart trailer. This was a interesting situation because we've had very little marketing for it. The first official trailer was the shortest time in Marvel history between a trailer and a project being released.
For live action.
For live action?
Yes, because the Spider-Man trailer came out exactly a month before the show came out.
This was 28 days.
That was not 28 days.
Oh, that's what I saw. It's still less than 28. Yeah. It's still more than 28 days away, so that doesn't make sense. I thought I saw a tweet that it was 28 days, but that wouldn't have made sense. Maybe it was 38 that they said. So for a live action show, shortest marketing window, they're not releasing it on a week-to-week basis. They're doing it in chunks, 3 and 3, and so if I'm not mistaken, it's only 6 episodes, so it'll be a 2-week show that we get this one. My first thoughts were, doesn't feel like a lot of confidence in the project. I'm kind of worried that maybe it's not going to be, I'm sure I'll have fun with it because I like basically everything Marvel. There's one thing Marvel that I was like, that's bad. And that's the show on Disney Plus that shall not be named. But
Secret Invasion for those who don't know.
yes, I'm sure I'll still very much enjoy it, but it doesn't seem like they got a ton of confidence. And then I see this trailer, and it was really damn good. This trailer got me really, really excited for this upcoming series. I love Riri Williams as a character from what I've seen in her in the MCU so far. I haven't read a lot of her comic books. Obviously, she just debuted less than 10 years ago. I am very excited for the series. Anthony Ramos as the Hood looks pretty damn cool. We're getting our technological side. We're getting our mystical side. Damon, this is my excitement level climbed drastically after seeing the trailer.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I'm going to calm a few people. I'm going to try to calm a few people down because I know there's already been so much discussion on the time of the promotion. And obviously, yes, when it comes to the trailer itself, a little over a month away is a pretty short time away. But if you go back, everyone, we look at like Daredevil's actual promotion, not just that first trailer, but when it was actually promoted. And you go to the you go to their Daredevil Instagram account. That show was not really properly promoted until about 30 days out. And then it was pretty heavy from there on. So deep breaths. The release strategy of it is very unfortunate because that does play into that side of it. And that sucks. That just straight up sucks. I wish this was a week-to-week thing, or at the very least, maybe do like first 3 episodes all in one sitting, and then you go boom, boom, boom afterwards, like once a week after. But they've been very clear that they're experimenting with release schedules 6 years after the platform has been, released. We're still experimenting with release schedules, which is fine. Hopefully this just suits the story. To me, I prefer week to week, but if the schedule suits the story the best, like I actually think Andor was a pretty good example of that. Yeah. Where if that was a week to week thing, I think a lot of people would have drug off. It would have like we would have been slogging through that at this point, right? I think we would have like just completed the first arc like a week ago, which would have been wild. So that's fine. The show looks good so far. I mean, from what we've seen, the VFX work looks great. I'm not the biggest Iron character fan. Iron Man doesn't matter. War Machine, it doesn't, like, I'm just not the biggest fan of like the Iron characters in general. But that more or less has to deal with the plot points of the first 3 Iron Man movies, which are on paper and in a very generic looking at it, the same plots. Tony Stark's armor falls into the wrong hands, which is also ironic because that's exactly the plot that they said that Armor Wars is supposed to have. And when that was said, I was just like, please no. Give me something new. Give me something different. Something we haven't done. And that's what this show looks like, what it's giving us. This isn't what if Tony Stark's armor fell into the wrong hands. This seems, from what we've heard, from what we've seen in the trailer, magic versus technology. Something we haven't dove that much into, which is interesting. I love the magic side. That's fun. And
anytime things get magical, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's Marvel, you and I get excited.
Yeah, because you can do so much with that. And I'm just looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. There's one character in here who I'm stunned is going to be in this show. Her name is Zelma Stanton. She's from like one of my favorite Doctor Strange books, which is from the Jason Aaron run. And she's actually like kind of like the librarian of Strange Academy in the comics right now. And she was kind of like Strange's apprentice a bit, who doesn't really do too much magic, but she's kind of like her assistant / librarian. And she's going to be in the show. Now, whether she has anything to do with Strange or Kamartaj or Strange Academy, whatever, anything from that, probably not. But hey, it's cool. A character I like is kind of going to be in this show, and she's fun.
That is very cool. I agree. Sean, what were your initial thoughts on the trailer? And as we apologies if I kind of speed us through here because I got a crazy day today a little bit, but I also want your thoughts on just how the trailer specifically starts out, because I thought this was so crazy and it got me so excited. Definitely escape room style. Hey, solve the puzzle or you're going to die. And not only does she choose to not solve the puzzle in the way that they're doing it, she just says, fuck this. I'm going to do things my own way, figures out how to get out there on her own terms, and impresses them even more than if she would have solved it their way. So I thought this was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love a good I like to call them like saw traps, ticking time bomb with the promise of death at the end. We got one in Thunderbolts, which that was nice too. I don't know, I like those that kind of plot device in any kind of anything. I'm just a sucker for it, I guess. But the trailer looks great. Like what Damon said, the VFX looks incredible, especially for a Disney Plus show, because we know sometimes that cannot be the best. But this also was filmed 3 years ago, so they had a lot of time in post-production with this one, but it's paying off. I know the kind of delaying of putting this out, even though they never really announced when they were going to put it out, but obviously it's been done for a very long time, is another troubling thing to people too. But I don't know, everything I've seen from this show just looks really intriguing. Like I'm glad they're putting the Ryan Coogler foot forward, especially after the Sinners hype this year. I think that's a smart move. I feel like maybe they should have started marketing with that sooner, just to kind of correlate with that a little more. But as Damon said, that's exactly right. All of the promotion for Disney Plus series has been a very short window for all of them, not just Ironheart. It usually is a month before, and then they start promoting it. That's just how they've been doing it, and that probably makes sense because a lot of people, there's so much stuff out at all times, especially on TV. So they probably want to catch all the people with short ass attention spans, because that's a majority of the world, and make it keep fresh in their mind. So I'm sure it's what they think is the best to promote. Whatever, hard to tell. Today's going to be a shameless plug for me and Collider articles, because I just wrote an article that just came out like 40 minutes ago about the Hood, about his comic origins, and how apparently his character might tie to another villain in this series. That people have been, that people have been wanting in the MCU since WandaVision. And there is some comic precedent there, except in that version, the Hood becomes Ghost Rider, which is wild. And I do not think that's going to happen here, obviously, because that would be really crazy for the Hood to be Ghost Rider when Ghost Rider isn't even here.
What if this version of the Hood's real name is Robbie Reyes?
Dude, I would hate that. I think they say his name in the trailer, and it's not Robbie Reyes.
It's Parker. Yeah,
it's Parker.
I said real name. Maybe it's an alias.
Gotcha. I don't think so. But it is also interesting if this is the show that introduces the MCU's version of Mephisto. That is even more strange that they're doing 3 and 3, and maybe that's why. Maybe it's a spoiler thing. I really don't know. In the comics, he gets his powers because he ends up killing a demon on accident, steals its cloak and boots, puts it on. And he's like, "Oh, I got powers." In this, it seems like it is a much more like deal with the devil type thing, with those markings on his back, and even the way we just saw in the trailer of the cloak being displayed feels very occult. So I can definitely see him making a deal with Mephisto instead. And so many people, like I saw so many people talking about that and being like, "Oh, they're going to defeat Ironheart's going to defeat Mephisto." And she doesn't need to defeat Mephisto. She doesn't even need to interact with Mephisto. He just needs to be in the background pulling the strings with stuff with the Hood. So I don't know why people jump to these weird conclusions. I don't know. It's the same thing if Mephisto was in WandaVision. It would have made no sense, because he would have came in episode 9, and then what? They were just going to write him off after? Like, that wouldn't have been good storytelling. It would have just been weird just to be like, yeah, here's Mephisto, and Wanda defeated him. Because that makes sense, right? It's, I don't know. People don't know what they want.
Beats everybody.
I mean, besides her own grief, TJ, that she loses.
It doesn't matter how powerful you are. If you can't come to terms with the demons inside of you, you're going to have a tough time. Ask Bob. Bob knows.
Bob does know. Bob does.
Damon, any other thoughts on the Ironheart trailer before we transition? I was originally thinking Superman last, but since YouTube just auto played and sent me to the Superman trailer next, we're going to pivot to that one second.
All right. Yeah, I think just the timing of the release of this show, like when it's being released is its biggest hurdle, because it's coming out in between Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. It feels like when this show's kind of like released in full, it's full Fantastic Four mode after that, right? Like that's the
maybe that's why too.
unfortunate. That's the unfortunate thing here. With the potential Mephisto of it all, I feel like this would have been a neat September release, closer to that time of year, and then you could pair that up with Marvel Zombies, because I know that's coming out later this year as well. And this is kind of like the last year of kind of putting out all that stuff that was greenlit. It's just kind of like its own thing. You have Wonder Man, you have Zombies, Eyes of Wakanda, and this all just kind of like being released this year before it goes into that quote unquote next era of the Marvel television plan, where there's still Vision Quest coming out, and that's, I guess, just started filming, which is crazy. And then all the other animated shows like X-Men 97 season 2.
I'm very much thinking of Vision Quest as new regime.
For sure. It should be from its like it's just started filming, so it should be, right?
Yeah. Oh, I thought it started filming. Oh no, they did say May. Never mind.
Yeah, it just started. There was like one set photo that came out, so it just started. So yeah, it's fun. I'm looking forward to this show. I feel like it's going to get buried, unfortunately. There's already a lot of disgusting chatter, just immediate about it. That's
the racists are already out in full force on the comments, and
there's already like disgusting chatter about it. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy that we have like a Marvel show coming out soon, and it'll be a nice little kind of like appetizer before a Fantastic Four movie. It'll be a nice thing to keep us full until then.
Do you guys think there will be a post-credit scene continuing the Young Avengers / Champions thing leading into Doomsday?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I kind of hope so, because that's why they waited so long with this, because it's kind of like, why did we wait so long other than just to like put off the gap a little bit? But I kind of hope so. But at the same time, if Riri's also on this Champions Young Avengers team, how many characters are on this team?
All of them.
Just all of
them.
Amount?
Yeah. A good amount.
Like it's 8, 9, 10. We're getting up there in numbers. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Trailer looked good.
Oops, I'm trying to do two things at once, and I am messing things up. There we go. Shall we switch over to Superman, which I just watched the trailer for the first time this very morning. I'm excited. This looked really, really good. I think the highlight for sure was the interview between Lois and Clark, Lois and Superman. The rest of it is kind of very much things we've already seen before, right? Like just like extended pieces of parts of the trailer we've already seen before. Some very cool moments, like Guy Gardner getting to see his powers for the first time, an extended look at Mr. Terrific's powers, an extended look at Hawk Girl, an extended look at Lex Luthor. But they kind of felt like there were pieces of scenes we had already seen from the trailer, but just extended looks from the teaser, sorry. This interview, though, I adore it. I absolutely adore it. Yes, David Cornsweet is Superman. He is Clark Kent. He's great. But Rachel Brosnahan is freaking Lois Lane, Damon. That is Lois Lane.
Oh, yeah. 100%. The second Cornsweet was like, Miss Lane. I was like, oh, yeah, that's Superman. You nailed it. That's all I needed. That's all I needed. But the dynamic between the two is so good already, where it almost feels like, Clark's sitting down. He's like, I'm going to have a nice little like interview with my lovely little girlfriend. And then she puts on her, I'm one of the best journalists hats. And
I'm
we
the
see
best
his
journalist.
full,
She said, I'm not, you may be my boyfriend, you may be Superman. I'm not going easy on you, buddy.
yeah. And you see his full emotion. Like, that's the emotion of Superman, where he's like, if I didn't step in, people would die. People would die if I didn't step in. I don't care if I cross international boundaries. I'm here to save people. The hope of it all. That's Superman. That's Superman. There's a lot, so much going on in this trailer that is
Yeah.
like my only hurdle with this movie, where there's just a lot in this movie, like a lot. So I hope it's pieced together nicely. I trust James Gunn in that matter, but that is to me going to be one of its bigger hurdles. And I hate to compare it with another movie this year, but that was like one of the hurdles that like Cat 4 had, where there was so many elements in that movie that it just felt a little too like chopped up. I know there's elements of All-Star Superman in this movie that was influenced by that. And All-Star Superman is very chapter-esque, very anthology in a way, where you're seeing like pieces and moments. So if it can overcome and do well with everything that's in here, from the Hawkgirl of it all, from the Green Lantern of it all, to the Lex of it all, to the Engineer of it all, to the big giant space fight at the end or whatever it is of it all, and then we can sit and settle with the Smallville moments that are so important. That's really important. TJ, you currently have an Andor trailer going on the screen right now.
Oh, we made it through the Superman one. There we go.
Yeah, you did. So yeah, it's man, I'm so hopeful for this movie, which is the right word for it. If it can overcome everything that it's offering and it's just pieced together nicely, we'll have something special.
Sean, thoughts on the trailer? For me, the biggest standouts were the getting to see how cool the Green Lantern powers looked, and then of course the interview. What were the standouts for you?
Yeah, interview was a big thing. So like this is my most anticipated movie of the year over anything. And I think it's mostly because it's James Gunn. And I know there's a corner of the internet, and I think it's a very small corner, that just adamantly hates James Gunn for some reason. I don't understand it, but you do you toxic little weirdos. But I think he is probably the best like comic book writer director there is, just like hands down. He's put no L's on the table. Everything he's put out has been great, in my opinion. And I love what we've seen from this movie, because it feels like something different from him that we've ever seen. Just in tone, and I mean, he's always kind of had something to say with his media, but I didn't think this movie was going to be so politically leaning, which was a pleasant surprise for me. But at the same time, I'm like, why would this be surprising to me? Like, Superman is literally a commentary on like immigration, which I've been having that conversation with people, because I used to be the guy that said Superman was a boring character. I was that guy until I kind of, after Man of Steel, which I like Man of Steel, but I think Man of Steel is a good movie, but a bad Superman movie. And I will die
I
on
agree.
that hill.
It's not a Superman movie. It's a great movie about a new hero that they created for the first time.
Yeah. And I know there's different tones in comics of characters that goes for any character. You know what I mean? There's silly Batman comics and there's super serious Batman comics, whatever. But after seeing like My Adventures of Superman and even like reading some comics and stuff, that like kind of made me fall in love with Superman after kind of getting into the world via Man of Steel, I guess. But truly learning, you know, he's a literal alien who gets raised on Earth in Midwest US and just wants to do good. Not for any reason, that he just wants to be a good human being, even though he's not a human being. Even so far as to Lex Luthor saying he's not a man, he's an it. And I was like, wow, good on you, James Gunn, for taking it this way, because I think it needs to be talked about that way. Because again, there's so many people who don't realize that, like, that's what Superman really is at its core, is like a commentary on that kind of stuff. And I think it's a really important time to have something like that. Not only a movie that feels so utterly hopeful, but kind of brings that under a magnifying glass and showcasing like what Superman actually is supposed to be. Like even that moment with that civilian helping him up, when it's like, you know, he didn't need help getting out of that crater, even though he just fell from the sky. He's Superman. But the fact that he lets that person to like make him feel like he's helping, like that's Superman. Like, and that's amazing. And apparently the interview sequence is like 12 minutes of the movie, or 10-12 minutes of the movie or something. I think it might be like a plot device. Like that might be kind of saying how things go, and then it goes to like the events they're talking about within the interview. But their chemistry is off the charts, and we've only seen like so little of it that we're going to get into this movie. And there's one thing, like James Gunn is incredible at casting, and this has been proven time and time again, and he just nailed it. Like I cannot wait for more of Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, because even just the little we see of him, he is such a hater, and it's so perfect. He gives zero fucks and just hates this dude. I've been loving people using Lex Luthor reactions being like Snyder fans watching. That's been the best. That's been the absolute best. And that's like a thing I want to differentiate. I like Zack Snyder. I like a lot of Zack Snyder movies. Watchmen is probably in my top 10 of comic movies of all time. I think he's a really good director when he wants to be. I don't know. Rebel Moon, those movies exist. Why? I don't know. But they exist. It's just like we all know. We all live in this space. We've all seen. And like Zack Snyder and James Gunn are friends. Like that's the thing that blows my mind more about how these Snyder people hate James Gunn. It's like the dude you worship is friends with this guy. Like I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. But this movie looks amazing, and I want to simmer your worries about the trailer, because there is a lot going on. But you also like think of the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer and how heavily featured Iron Man was in it. He's in 7 minutes of that movie. 7 minutes. About what was it? The movie's probably 2 hours. You know, that's nothing. Literally nothing. And that's why I hate it. It's like Iron Man's in that movie too much. I was like 7 minutes is too much. Really? Come on, get out of here. You're making up things to be mad about. So I think the point of having so much characters, and this is my hope, obviously I don't know, is that it's to make the movie like thrust you into this new DCU and this lived-in world where all of these things are happening. And I see it as an answer to like one of the biggest complaints of MCU things is, hey, this big thing is happening in this movie. Where is everyone else? And this movie is like, they're here because they should be here. And I love that about it, if that's what it ends up being. Again, this is me theorizing, conjecturizing on what I hope might happen, but that's what I think. And even James Gunn saying, he's like, this is a Superman movie. Like through and through, it's a Superman movie. I put in these characters to flesh out the universe. And even seeing, which we're going to get into, is like we see Hawkgirl, we see Guy Gardner in the Peacemaker trailer from the jump. And I'm like, this already feels more connected than the DCU ever did. And there was weird little cameos in those movies too, but they felt just like weird little cameos. They didn't feel like it was a connected thing. And this already does. And the fact that he's already doing that, I mean, even Creature Commandos felt like, oh, it's a continuation, but it's a new thing. You know, it's his whole thing. Like if we reference something from the past, it's canon to the new stuff. And once we get in the Peacemaker thing, I think they might explain some of the multiverse shenanigan stuff as well, which is interesting. But I'm so excited for this new universe, and I don't know. I just think James Gunn is incredible. So I have full faith that this movie is going to be something truly, truly special and like needed. And I think it might have like the Top Gun effect of like money, because I think it can bring in the older generation that was into the Christopher Reeves. Like obviously this is paying massive homage to those movies, and a lot of things like the score is like a new rendition of that, and a lot of the iconography is like very much based in that. His son or grandson is in the movie as a reporter and stuff like that. So I think it could kind of be this generational event that like really brings people together in a special way, and that's what movies are supposed to do. So that's my hopes for this movie. It could end up being something different, but I don't believe that James Gunn can put out a bad superhero movie. That would honestly shock me if the movie was bad. So if the movie feels like these trailers have, I'm going to be a blubbering mess. That's for sure.
I think it's interesting that interview is apparently like 10% of the movie, whatever it is, because originally I think like when this movie was announced, it was like Superman Legacy, and they said there's gonna be a lot of it that was going to be like very all-star Superman. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be neat if this is essentially like the story that Lois is telling little Jonathan of his dad type of thing, and like that's how you get into pieces in. And it feels like this is almost just like an adjacent type of idea. If it's like you're having the interview being used to tell things about stories of the past to help you kind of catch up. So we're not doing the Krypton goes boom again. Like, you know, we've already moved past that. And we could tell little stories here and there about how we got to this point that it seems like big space battle, Solaris, something maybe happening in the sky behind them.
Sean, any final thoughts before we switch to Peacemaker?
No, I feel like I already said way too much.
The Peacemaker one, honestly, there's just a few parts of it that I really want to focus on. We kind of get the classic, the band's getting back together. We thought we were going to be big, famous, big deals. We're not. Nobody cares about us. We're not doing anything. Peacemaker's trying to join the Justice Society of America. It's not going well. Maxwell Lord is...
I saw a promotional thing. So the JG Justice Gang.
Is that really what it is?
It's what I read.
No, I don't think that's real. It's not a J and a G. That's what James Gunn said. That's just like
he said it was just a corporate icon.
Okay. Yeah, that's the Maxwell Lord corporate icon. Okay. But we got the gang getting back together. They're all just going through tough times. None of them are where they thought they were going to be after saving the world. They're underappreciated. Nobody knows who they are. And that's kind of standard stuff for that we're expecting from his Peacemaker show, right? We see some Rick Flag Sr. He's going to be heavily involved. We see my favorite part, honestly, is seeing Isabel Merced as Hawk Girl after all the Last of Us conversations we've had. I just want to see more of her in everything I'm watching because she's so incredible. And then we do get the fun little multiverse. This scene was hilarious too. But we do get the fun little multiverse tease at the end. Maybe multiverse tease, or maybe it's just a dream. Maybe it's just a dream. Maybe it's a flashback. We don't really know. But I was already pretty excited for Peacemaker season 2, so I don't really think this trailer got me more excited. But this is such a great show, Damon, that I'm really looking forward to diving in anyways. Here's the part at the end of the trailer as we're coming to a conclusion. Is this multiversal? Is this a clone? Is this a dream? We don't really know.
He has an inverse Peacemaker logo on his chest.
Maybe it's the mirror dimension.
Some pocket dimension weirdness going on there. Yeah, Peacemaker is not like my favorite thing ever. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to more. I'm fascinated. Like, I totally missed it. When does this release?
Mid-August.
Mid-August. So this is after Superman.
Correct.
And Guy Gardner is still there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he doesn't die in Superman. Maybe he dies in Peacemaker.
Maybe
He's
he
supposed to
just doesn't die.
He's going to be in Lanterns. He's not dying.
I see.
he'll
Here's
die
the
at the
thing.
beginning of
We
it.
both thought that he was going to just be like some hologram type of like role in that movie.
I
Or
think that he's
TV
gonna.
show, but
Sean, I guess I haven't shared my theory with you yet. I think he's gonna die, and his lantern and his ring are gonna go to Jon Stewart.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, there can be more, right? They can
There
all exist
can
at
be,
once.
but I don't know. That was just a guess. It was just like a, just
Okay.
a thought.
All right.
But continue,
Fair.
Dan.
yeah, no, the show's not my favorite. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and I'm more interested to see how this kind of like continues the DCU. I know Gunn has vocally said that he's looking at the DCU not so much like MCU timeline where one thing affects the next thing, which affects the next thing, but more like Star Wars where you can kind of like bounce around and it's all in the same universe. So I hope we're not dealing with multiverse stuff already. I feel like the general populace is a bit over it. So that would be a choice. Maybe it is a pocket dimension. Maybe it is some weird bizarro Peacemaker. Who knows? I hope it's not too serious and it's not too much of the plot in the very least. Because if I remember correctly from what Gunn said, is like pretty much all of Peacemaker season 1 is canon, except that scene where he sees the Justice League, which you could very easily be like, dude, you're seeing things, you're delusional, that never happened. And then you're like, done. He was just seeing that, he was knocked out, whatever. He then never saw it, so that's pretty easy to kind of just like brush off. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, not my favorite thing, but content.
John, how about you?
I love Peacemaker. I love what John Cena brings to this role. I think he really showed off his acting chops in that first season, and I'm excited to see where the second season goes. I think I also wrote an article about how what's canon in this new season of Peacemaker and what the multiversal thing could imply. That's also at Clary.com if you want to check that out. But basically, I think it's going to be, because I remember in interviews, Gunn said that thing. It's like, if we reference something from the past, it's now canon in the future. Anything that's not referenced isn't canon. And I was like, okay. And he's like, we kind of deal with why season 1 and season 2 are different in this season. And then they very distinctively, they did not need to include that scene in the trailer, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I think that version of Peacemaker is the same one from the season 1, and after he saves the day, his life goes great, or something like that. It seems like his dad might still be alive in that series, and he's kind of more aligned with him. Obviously, you talked about how his icon on his suit is inverted, so there are some different things. So maybe that's how they explain it or something. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a big part of it either. I think it might be like just even a funny gag that kind of explains it, because if you really think about the whole DC as in what has happened in recent years, the Flash could explain why everything changed. At the end of the movie, he goes to a different universe, but that movie bombed and no one watched it.
Acknowledge that movie happened.
Exactly. So this could be Gunn's way of doing something similar where it explains why things are different. Because obviously the DCU Justice League is not in this version. It's very much a continuation of Superman, but it's still dealing with ramifications that happened in the DCU. The Suicide Squad is technically the DCU, where Peacemaker killed Rick Flag, that happened in the old universe. So I think it can just be like weird parallel universes, and how he travels is his dad's pocket dimension thing where he realizes, oh, wow, I stepped into this door. It brings me into a parallel universe, very close to the one we're in, but just a little different. And that's just an easy, fun way to describe it. Again, I don't think it's going to be a big part of it, but it could be a fun way to kind of explain it to us nerds who for some reason care about that stuff. Because in the grand schemes, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm excited to see more of this gang and see kind of where it ends up. And Obviously, he's not going to get into Maxwell Lord's Justice Group, whatever they are. I really hope they're not called Justice Gang because that name sucks. I really hope it's like Justice League International or something, and it's the corporate version. And then Superman realizes he needs to form his own version. That's how the Justice League, and they can both exist. That's fine. I like that. I like teams. Give me all the teams. But I'm interested to see like where Peacemaker kind of ends up in this thing. Like, does he stay kind of his own thing? Is season 2 like the last we're going to see a Peacemaker? Does Rick Flag Sr. kill this dude at the end? I mean, I doubt it, but that'd be kind of crazy. If that happened. But does he become part of Argus, works for Rick Flag? Like, who knows? I'm excited to see where it goes and how it kind of leans into the DCU of it all. Now that, you know, by that time we've seen Superman and see kind of the lay of the land of that universe. So I'm excited. I'm excited for more and really interested to see how things start to line up. And because the next thing after that is either Lanterns or Supergirl. I think Lanterns comes out before Supergirl, but we'll see if it kind of ties into anything, like foreshadows anything that's going on in that or not. Because it doesn't need to. Not everything needs to be overtly connected. It should be enjoyable on its own. That's the whole point of these things. But it's cool when things slightly connect, which this season already is, obviously, with the Rick Flag Sr. stuff coming in and having Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl in it. Obviously, there's some small connection there, even if it's just like an opening scene where he gets dunked on by this justice team, whatever they're called. And, you know, they say he sucks and then he leaves disappointed. Poor guy. Poor
That's going to be my only question for either of you. Do you think there will be any creature commando / Amanda Waller anything
Yes.
in this show?
It will absolutely be referenced by Rick Flag Sr.
Because he's the head of Argus now. But so what does that mean for Amanda Waller? Is she gone? Is she under him now? Like that's like
I bet
last time we saw Rick Flag.
I bet they go to her for help at some point during Peacemaker season 2.
Yeah, because he was in a coma the last time we saw him, got beat up by Clayface. And now Superman is the head of Argus. And it's interesting because they say he's head of Argus here. But there's weird framing in the Superman trailer where they said like head of CIA and they go to Rick Flag Sr.
Yeah,
and
like
they say
the head of Secretary of Defense or something like that.
Or something, yeah. And they say president and it goes to Lex Luthor. And I don't know if I'm looking into that too much and being like they are saying they are those characters or it's just how the trailer was cut. Hard to tell. We don't know. But it would make sense if this is after. Like, why would he be Secretary of Defense and then Argus after when he was already working for Argus? That's kind of confusing. So we'll see. I would imagine he's just still head of Argus. That would make the most sense. I don't know.
James Gunn did say as well over the weekend or over the week, I don't know what time it is, what day it is, when we are, where we are, but he mentioned that the 4 pillars of the DCU will be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Supergirl. And then he also mentioned that he can't share anything publicly, but there are updates coming along on Wonder Woman, and he's very happy about how things are progressing in that side of the pillars. So that's exciting for the future of the DCU. I got to get us the hell out of here because I got so many things I got to be doing. So make sure you follow Agents of Fandom wherever you get your podcasts and up on our YouTube page. Make sure you follow Agents Fandom on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. We got The Last of Us every Monday. We got Comic Corner every Thursday. And we will have extra shows dropping throughout the week now that Andor has concluded in between now and Ironheart, which we will, of course, be covering each week on the podcast. Shout out to Carlos, who's mentioning in chat, Gunn has stated that Flag is not the Secretary of Defense and Luthor is not the president right now. Those are things that people got confused about in those trailers. So there you go. We got lots of exciting DC stuff coming, lots of fun Marvel stuff coming, lots of fun Star Wars stuff coming, not in the near future, but further future for Star Wars. And we got it all covered for you here on the podcast. You can find Sean on socials at Metalcore Nerds. Damon, you can't find him because he's hiding, but you can find Damon every Thursday on the Comic Corner. You can follow him on Instagram at Damon.Graham. You can find me, TJ_Zwarych5. Thank you so much for tuning in today, everyone. We will see you next time.